Today I'm going to repair this old pool filter that has DE grids for about 53 bucks. I'll show you how the model number relates to the size of the grids, what makes it function, and how I save a ton of money with less than an hour's work. I'm wearing 6 pair of gloves, 14 pair of safety glasses. DeMille's behind the camera, and let's get started. Well, hey folks, it's Merv. I'm going to use a socket wrench, some O-ring lube, a garden hose, and a flathead screwdriver. Once we get inside, we'll determine if we need new grid panels or a new manifold. I'm doing this for my neighbor Margie because she's a modern divorced woman who deserves to bask by the pool, and the symptoms were so obvious it wasn't just an algae problem because the cloudy water told me powder was sneaking through the filter and back into the pool. You can see the residue on the skimmer flap here and on the steps right here. What I'm about to show you is my good overall for HAYWARD American PENTAIR/Pack Fab DE filters with a top manifold. This one here's a PENTAIR. The principle's the same. At the end of the video, we'll show you exactly how much the local pool place quoted us. Excuse me? There must be some mistake. Are you talking about the same thing as I am? So take a guess what their price was by taking our poll up here, or leave your comments in the section below. For me, 53 bucks in less than an hour of my time. Remember that. So first, while she's running, I'm going to make sure the air is released. Then off goes the system. In fact, I kill the power just to be safe she don't turn on while I'm working on her. And next, we're going to take off that sexy belt around her waist. Secret Merv tip number 17. I always take a good look at how things look before I disassemble them. In this case, I notice this spring is completely compressed tight, and there's a gap of about a ½ inch between one side of the strap and the other. So when I put her back together, that's exactly how tight she needs to be. So here's where I use my 7/8 socket and my superhuman ratcheting skills. Notice the springs start to open up. Okay, I'm going to pour on the steam now. It might take a mortal man a little bit longer to do this, of course. Then I'm going to drop this belt down to the ground, just like on my wedding night. And here's another Merv trick. I open the backwash valve and pressure valve to create some back pressure that helps loosen this here lid. Knowing that, folks, is a valuable secret. Shh, don't tell nobody. Off comes the lid, and I carefully place it off to the side. Oh, pipe down, Mrs. Jenkins. Well, this is what I figured. A cracked manifold. I knew it wasn't a grid panel because I just replaced those for Margie about 6 months ago. But we'll check those too. Now don't be grossed out by the gunk. It's just caked on DE powder that's doing its job, trapping algae and all sorts of stuff. You wouldn't believe the debris this thing can filter out. So let's hose her off. By the way, this hose is the craziest thing I ever bought. Look at that. It's nuts. I love it. So we'll clean this up a little and then spin off the wing nuts. Other filters might have regular nuts, but this has wing nuts. When I was a kid, that's the only toy I ever had. Be sure to leave a comment below about the kind of nuts you have. You want to make sure you put those in a safe place. Now there's a way to clean these grids without removing them, and then you just replace them with new ones one at a time as you take out each old one. But it's better to take everything out and inspect it real good. Plus, I like using this hose. Now, this black doohickey is important. It's a little template that keeps your grids lined up the way they should be. I'm going to put that over here. And now let's fish these out, and I'll show you what the measurements mean. Of the 8 grids, one of them is smaller, by the way. You'll see how that works later. And on the bottom, you got this bottom manifold, which is nice to clean off too. And ooh, I should have done this before because the filter's been filling up. Look out, flathead screwdriver coming into action. It's smarter to remove the backwash hose first to let the water flow more freely as I hose off the guts of this thing. There it goes. Wait a minute. Got a problem. Looks like Margie lost something. Ain't it the truth? So I clean her up real good, and I'm pretty meticulous, as you can tell by the way I dress. So I even use my wet vac to remove every last drop of water from the bottom because I want this baby to be clean as a whistle. And I put the bottom manifold back in. It just sits on top of that lip down there. But before you burst a brain synapse wondering which way that thing needs to set, think about this easy trick. I go grab the top manifold. Give me that. Give me that. Give me. And you notice how it needs to fit on this pipe? Well, that tells you everything. Once I got it situated on this pipe, then I know how these rods need to line up. So I install the bottom manifold in a way that works for that. Simple. So let's get these grids hosed off to mill.
Let's do it.
And I always like to put them up against the house because it gives the ladies something to gripe about when it splatters. They need something to gripe about, you know. Plus, the house will wash off just fine. And I'll clean up that stray d.e. powder. It ain't smart to leave it laying around. Not good for critters to eat and such. I inspect each grid carefully when I'm done cleaning them. No holes, no tears like I figured. The manifold was the problem. But here's Merv Serve tip number 22. Look at these grids. How is it that 8 of these add up to 24 square feet for this here filter? Well, I'm not going to waste too much of your time now, but I will reveal that calculation in another video. For now, let me just give you the easy shortcut. See, the height of this grid is 12 inches. If your grids are 12 inches high, you just double it. The 12-inch grid means you got a 24 square foot filter. 18-inch grids, well, that's a 36 square foot filter. See the relationship? 30-inch grids, well, that's hey, DeMille, you got a calculator? Let's see here, 30 times 2 is, 60. That would be a 60 square foot filter. Now let's get back to it. So the bottom manifold is there, ready for these panels to be inserted. I start with a small one, and then work my way out from there. Of course, it's natural to fiddle and fuss a little, wonder just exactly how these fit in here. What the John? How the heck? But hold your horses, check this out. I see the little circular areas in the bottom manifold. Well, those are telling us something. They're showing us precisely where these pipes need to set. Once a man knows that, he can really go to town. And then that big old O-ring, exactly the size of Helen's waist. By now, it's after 6, so I put on my dinner gloves and grabbed some non-toxic lube. I love it for O-rings, gaskets, tasty on crackers late at night.
I've been looking forward to this all day.
Don't you do that, though. I'm going to use it to grease up this flow pipe and Helen's waistband. Here's the new manifold and air release, so some assembly required. This one's black, and I verified that it's identical to the broken one I removed. Same holes and configuration, except, of course, it ain't broke. It's new. You just got to put this release tube in it, which is intuitive. See the raised rib on top here? It's going to slide into a groove in the manifold, and it's got this stop on it, easy as pie. So you just got a slider in there, the only way it can fit. You just push it tight, and you push it until it hits the stop and can't go anymore. I just push her all the way in, and voila. So how does all this work? What exactly happens when you backwash? That's the subject of another video I hope you'll join us for. Right now, let's finish this job and talk about that later. So the template lines everything up. That's its only purpose. And there's the big pipe that's going to connect up to the big hole in the manifold. The little outlets are going to connect up to these grid pipes to gush water down through the center of the fabric when you backwash to push off the old d.e. powder and send it down the drain. This fits on here slicker than slick. You might have to monkey with it a bit, but if you've greased it up right, that's half the battle. I make sure the grids are still aligned and spaced properly. This really holds it all together. Now the wing nuts or regular nuts, snug it down tight. I'm going to show off a little use of my superhuman abilities for the sake of time. Helen's cooking meatloaf and I got to get this done. There. Now we cap her off. And I'm going to align the discharge spout a heck of a lot better than Margie's ex, Russell. It needs to spray that way, not against the house. What an idiot that Russell was. Never liked that guy. And look for my special video that talks about how to install a new PSI gauge and how the pros recommend you properly use this gauge in order to avoid costly mistakes. Finally, I put the strap back on her and tighten it properly using the trick I told you about in the beginning. No need to crack her like a walnut. See how she's tightening up there? I hose her off and make her look pretty. Open the air release. And I'll tell you a secret about that gauge in the other video. Shh. On goes the power again, and on goes the pump. A little timer adjustment. Oops, off by 35 seconds. Oh well. I'm going to just wipe this off. I don't like spraying electric boxes with water, as a general rule, when I'm sober. With a skimmer on full, in goes the d.e. powder. You really don't want to be breathing this stuff. And what I done is made a special scoop for Margie's pool, and I put a number on the side to remember the precise amount it needs to have. I clean up my mess, admire my work once more, and wait as this cloudy green pool turns into something beautiful again. Look there, you're starting to see the bottom again. Alright, so here's our call to the pool service store to see what their price would have been. Now remember, the manifold cost me $53. If you want to count delivery, let's call it $60. And a full set of 8 universal grids, if I needed them, that's 7 plus the one small kicker, would have been $75 online. You can check out our product links in the description below, by the way. So I could have replaced everything for $135 plus an hour's worth of my time. In this case, I just did the manifold, like I said.
Pool Supply, this is Bob.
Yes, I'm looking for someone to fix my filter.
Yes,
do you
sir.
do that?
Yes, we do. What type of a filter do you have?
It's a 24 square foot d.e. filter, a PENTAIR. It's releasing powder back into the pool, and I think it needs new grids or a new manifold, not sure.
So depending on how you want to proceed, I can send a technician out, and we charge $115 for the service call. That includes a complete cleaning of all the grids and a manifold check, and then we reassemble it. That's just the cleaning. Of course, if we find any broken parts, we would replace those, and there would be a separate fee for that.
And you sell the replacement grids?
Yes, sir. Those are $26 a piece plus tax, and that does include installation if you want our technician to do it while he's out there.
So $115 to come out, plus the grids, and you sell the manifold?
The manifold you're looking at about $85, and that also includes our installation.
So my total, if I have to replace everything, would be $90.10 for the manifold, plus $115 for the dude to come out. Would be $205.10 for the manifold, and if we have to replace the grids, that's $220.48 on top of that, so $425.58 for the whole shooting match.
Yes, sir. Would you like to set up an appointment for me to send someone out?
Oh, thank you. No. Hell no. Save money, keep it simple, and I'll see you next time. Merv's Service Secrets is filmed by live people in front of a recorded audience that never showed up. Sure do hope you'll like and subscribe.